Here are 5 things I started doing that helped me find love. Number 1, create rules. In my experience, you have to date a little bit like NASA launches rockets when you're trying to find love. Because NASA didn't get their first rocket ship to the moon, did they? They spent billions and billions, maybe trillions, I don't know, trying to get there. It is very, very expensive going to the moon. And it takes a lot of tries, and NASA knows that that's how it is, and they're willing to get the result anyway. Because if you really want to go to space, that's just what it takes. And how this applies to creating rules to find love is that a lot of people think that they're really, really close to going to space. Imagine you're playing golf, you're, a kilometer away from the hole, but you're using the putter because you think you might be close, or there's a chance that you could be close, when you'd be better off getting out the driver and putting a bit more effort into your swing. Because it's impossible to know how far away the hole is when you're standing there, because there's no real way of knowing who you're going to meet, and there's no real way of knowing what qualities you need to have to attract certain people. And it's hard to know how well you're going with the qualities you have, because there's so many components that go into a relationship that you can't accurately measure all of them. You can't go oh, well, this person's better at me than this thing, so that means I'll never find love, or I'm better at this person than this thing and they've got a girlfriend, so I should find love. You just can't compare because there's so many things that need to line up. But the good news is that in the game of dating, it's not quite like golf, because there's no fear of overshooting the hole. If you get too good at, risen up girls, you get too good at, meeting people, you meet too many people, that's not going to be an issue. So I would ask you, and I would tell my previous self, instead of focusing your strategy on trying to find the one right now, focus on the skills that you know that you could improve, the skills that are lacking the most for you, and improve those. So maybe you're not meeting enough people. Maybe that's the number one thing that you think is holding you back when you take a step back and look objectively. Well, maybe that's the thing that you should work on. Or maybe, for me, it was my conversation skills. They sucked. My confidence sucked. And so that, for me, was the thing I needed to work on. Maybe I thought my confidence was okay because it had gotten a lot better and I couldn't see how good it needed to be. But it was the thing that I needed to improve on the most. I could see that at the time. And so that's how you get around that whole issue of not knowing how far away you are. And just work on the things that you know that you need to work on. And so ultimately, what you need to do is create rules. What this will do, you will stop worrying, hopefully, about when it's going to happen and whether your strategy is correct and whether you need to start working on this instead of that. And you'll just reflect on the things that you need to improve the most, and you will improve those. It's a foolproof strategy because you're working on the things you need to do most, and you've got rules for how you're working on those things. So you're going okay, maybe I'm not meeting enough people. Okay, I'm going to go out once a week. Easy. Maybe my conversation skills suck. Maybe I'm going to go out once a week again. And I'm going to, every week, I'm going to think of one thing that I can improve with my conversations. Okay, now we've got a clear way of how we're going to improve the things that we are worst at. And that will get us closer to finding love, because there's all those skills that you need. You've got to tick off every single one of them. You've got to meet enough people. You've got to have you've got to be able to build chemistry with people. You've got to have the confidence. You've got to have the actual niceness and kindness to hold a relationship. There's all these boxes, and you've got to tick off every single one. And the way that you can ensure that you do that is by working on the things which you know that you are worst at. And rules help you do that in a concrete way. So I have rules. There was a time where I wasn't meeting enough people, and so I went really extreme, and I was like, I'm going to do 100 cold approaches in 100 days. Gave up on that very quickly because it was a very, very ambitious rule. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go on Hinge, and I'm going to go through, I'm going to make sure I swipe on, I get to the limit of how many people you can swipe on every day. And guess what? That's how I met my current girlfriend. So it doesn't have to be my exact strategy. You can do all this other stuff. I was also, going out a couple of times a week to improve my conversation skills and social skills. So it can be whatever. But when you have rules, you're progressing towards finding love, and you have certainty that you are progressing because you're improving the stuff that you need to improve. Now it's not going to be an anxiety-inducing pity party of oh, I thought this person was the one, I was so close. But no, well, now you're just focused on the slow grind of getting better and better and better. And people will come into your life and they'll appear, and maybe one of them will be right for you. But you just keep going until that naturally happens. So step one was to create rules, and that was kind of a whole thing, right? I didn't want to just give a generic video on tips when really you are the one who knows yourself and you know what you need to work on. But I do have some concrete other things that you should do. That being said, step two is to fix your dating profile. So I said that I met my girlfriend on Hinge. What I didn't tell you was that for probably half a year, I went on and off Hinge. You know, every now and then I would go on there, I would swipe, and in about, I want to say 6 months, of maybe swiping on like, I don't know, 100 people or so, I got 0 matches, or maybe like 1 or 2 matches in 6 months. Shrek would get more matches than me on Hinge. For that matter, Lord Farquaad would get more matches than me. But once I fixed my dating profile, so I went to Japan and I got my mum to just take a bunch of pictures of me, like good ones, and I memorized some poses, which is what you should do, by the way. Get your mum to take pictures of you when you go on a trip and memorize poses. I changed. My dating profile was revolutionized. I started getting, I reckon, 1 match every 1 to 2 days. Keep in mind, I'd done 6 months and I've gotten 3 matches. With these kinds of things, because you're competing for spots, if you can improve your profile, like make it twice as good, for example, you may get 10 times as many matches. So it's not a linear thing of like, oh, if I improve my profile by 10%, I'll get 10% more matches. No, you'll get a lot more matches. And even if you don't get as many matches as you want, it's going to be a confidence boost to just see that you have a better dating profile, even if you still get no matches, or even if you get more matches than you did. It's a confidence boost, and it takes like not very long to just improve some pictures. Now, if you're still not getting matches after this, you don't have to go on dating apps. And if you're too young for dating apps and you're still watching this video, like, good on you, I guess, for getting ahead. But there's no need to go on dating apps, really. Like, that's just, if you are on dating apps, fix your dating profile, please. Number 3, experiment more with your texting. So I started experimenting more with my texting. Wow, what a surprise. Basically what that means is I didn't always say the same response. I didn't say the first thing that came to mind. And I also did the stuff that I was scared to say. Because how do you learn if you don't experiment? Sure, you can apply the tips you learn in YouTube videos, but that is experimentation at the end of the day. And again, with the stuff we said at the start, NASA didn't at the start try to go straight to the moon. It tried other stuff first. It just went into space. It sent some satellites. You don't go straight for the end goal all the time. So it's fine to just treat people kind of like you, with respect, and like you like them and stuff, and try to get closer to like building connection with them, but don't take it so seriously. So what that means is, yes, try to, get close with them and date them, but don't perfect every single text. You can experiment a little. One bad text, or like not bad text, but just a bit weird text, is not going to completely ruin your chances. What it will do though, is it will teach you how to text better, and that will get you more dates. So back to the NASA thing. Rockets use 90% of their fuel just getting off the ground. Crazy if you think about it, but anyway, getting dates is roughly, like, I would say 90% of the effort. If you can get 10 dates, like it's a pretty good chance, but getting 10 dates is very, very hard. Now, okay, I don't know if getting 10 dates you'll actually have a good chance of finding love, but that's where all this texting and the creating rules to improve the stuff that you need to work on and fixing your dating profile, that will help you get off the ground. And so this stuff is going to be harder, and it's going to take more effort, and it's going to take longer to improve. So you're not going to see much improvement for a long, long time. Just like NASA did all this stuff for many, many years. And then finally, at the moment, it all changes. You get off the ground. And then that's when it all happens. You get the rocket to the moon. After a long, long time of not seeing progress, you will suddenly get over that threshold where you'll suddenly be able to get dates, and you'll pass the threshold where you'll be a good partner for the right kind of people. And then you'll just see an explosion. You'll still have to meet a lot of people. It may still take a long time, but it will be 90% of the work will already be done. Number 4, stop watching porn. You already know the harms of it. If you're watching this video hoping that you can silently find love without stopping watching that, no, you should stop. Think about it. If you start dating your future partner, you're gonna have to break it to them that you watch, you know what, it's just not what you wanna do. Number 5, there is a mandatory 10 cold approach rejections. This is if you're a guy. If you're a girl, you can skip this one. I did 19 cold approaches, which is where you just go up to someone in a shopping center or a bookstore or whatever, and you just go hey, I thought you were really pretty, can I get your Instagram? Something like that. It doesn't have to be something insane, like asking for their Instagram or asking them on a date or saying they're pretty. You can just be like, hey, do you know where the toilets are? But a lot of people, I think me especially, are terrified to do that. And you may not realize just how terrified you are until you actually go and do it. I know this because I was like, oh, how hard can it be? How hard can it be, right? I thought it was hard, but I was like, oh, I'll be able to do it. I went there. I went to a shopping center thinking I was going to do like 5 or so just to, meet some people. And I walked around for probably an hour before I did my first one. An hour of walking around the shopping center. My legs were getting sore. I was like, oh, my neck was getting sore from being all stiff and worried. It was very, very hard. And basically that gave me the motivation to lock in and really improve this, because if I can't go up to someone and just say hi and just ask them for directions to the toilet, how am I going to be an incredible partner for my future love of my life? And when you can just do one of these as well, you will realize how far you have to go, but you'll also get a little confidence boost for having done something so hard. And that'll make all the stuff you have to do in the future a little bit easier, because you can go, oh, well, that one time I did this thing. I think if people get uncomfortable when you genuinely did no harm to them, you just called them pretty and said, oh, sorry to bother you, have a great day. That's kind of like, that's on them. Like, it's not your responsibility to not do stuff when you're doing it in such a kind way. Anyway, as I was saying though, doing this and seeing that most people were fine with it made me realize, oh, well, there's probably all this other stuff I can do as well. Maybe I can ask people on dates after only like 2 days of texting them. And that's what I did, and got my current girlfriend, by the way. So there's a lot of benefits to doing that. Just going up to someone and asking like, where's the bathroom, if you're too scared to ask for their Instagram. And when you can do those things of stopping watching porn and doing the cold approaches, that is really building the essential skills you need. So you've got off the ground, you've done the first few things, and you've gotten dates. And these few things are going to help you get second dates. And if you can get second dates, you're out of orbit, like you're into space. And really just, once you're in space, it's just a time thing. You just wait, basically. You have to do the little adjustments. You have to, check in every now and then. But you're basically just meeting more people. You're good. You've improved the skills. You've done the hard work. So for you right now, your rocket is probably pointed in the right direction. You're probably doing all the right things, but you're just not using enough fuel to get off the ground. I know this because I wasn't using anywhere near enough fuel. I thought it took a little bit and it took a lot more. I thought I was really close, but I wasn't that close. So regardless of where you think your ability is, pick the things that you're the worst at, work on those, and do the other things that I recommend that you do if you think they're applicable. And use some more of that fuel to get off the ground. So the only question left is, are you ready to start using more fuel? Have a great day.